Hello, and welcome back to the Horror of the Emerald Valley. This is our Earth Dawn one-shot. We've been having a lot of fun with it, and we are joined by our guest GM, Rob. Say hi.
Hi.
He is the mind behind the Songbirding podcast and the Name Givers podcast, the latter of which is also an Earth Dawn show, and you should definitely go check it out. You will find yours truly in it at one point as a guest character. It was a lot of fun. So I'm very curious about what's going to be happening next. I think maybe we should find out what happened last time, though.
I woke up from my sleep, just feeling odd, like I had forgotten something, and it kind of rattled me. So I went up to the deck to get some air and think it through, and I ran into Saliak. He had apparently been woken up by a dream and had seen a care and an elf with dark eyes that were glowing from behind, and something about a wall with a vine coming through it. It was all strange, but then we had a voice talk to us, telling us that, mostly just laughed at us. It was very strange. But then Mixie came up on the deck, and she had the orb that we were given in her hands, and apparently was sensing something off in the distance in the direction we were going. And as we were talking about discussing what we thought was going on, we noticed some Shadowmans approaching, and they circled above us and dropped more orbs on us, but these ones were glowing red. And some skeletons came out of some of them, and we got rid of them really quickly, but it was all very strange, and was followed up by that voice once again laughing at us, but this time telling us we would remember things soon. So we surmised that something related to horrors is going on, and it's likely at this care that we're going to. So we cautiously approached the village and saw that it was apparently abandoned. It seemed like things were overgrown, and we didn't see any activity. We sent the Windling Mixie out to go kind of scout ahead and look around, and she found an Obsidian who, upon us arriving, seems to know us.
All right, and we're back. Rob, you want to take it away?
So, last time we ended, we were in the hamlet or village of Flaxworth upon Emerald, I believe was the name we went with. And this is because it's outside of Care Flaxworth, and it's on the Emerald River in the Emerald Valley, so hence the name. You encountered in the kind of more or less abandoned town, I think you've determined, this Obsidian barkeeper who named himself Mazet the Long-Winded, he did introduce himself as a troubadour, if I recall correctly, though, too. And so maybe I'll just take a moment to say, hey, what is a troubadour? Because you may be wondering, and that is another discipline, so this does mean he is an adept. The discipline of troubadour is kind of like a bard kind of thing, if you think of it that way, about singing songs, telling tales, and creating legends and all that kind of stuff. So, I believe when we ended last time, Wesley and Andrew, you had heard him say, welcome back to you. And just to set the scene a little bit, he had kind of very dark eyes, and more dark than Obsidian usually are. And I should interject to say that Obsidian don't have typical human-like eyes. They tend to not have the pupils. They sometimes have human eyes, but it's usually kind of very colored orbs kind of eyes. But in this case, these were absolutely black with some blue light coming from behind them, it seemed, like kind of peeking around the eye.
Yeah, if I recall correctly, I had made the roll to notice the eyes, and so I had stepped up, and he says, "Welcome back." And I think Saliak, he goes silent a minute. He's looking at him, and he says, "How do you know me, sir?"
You were here weeks ago, I think it was. And he kind of looks like he's pondering a bit. Weeks ago, months ago, maybe. I don't know. Time's a little weird with me right now. I don't know. Yeah. He looks a little confused when he's doing this.
Can you recall anything of what happened when you saw myself and my friend here? And he makes a gesture towards Dravik.
And as you do that, he looks at you and says, well, where is... And then he kind of pauses and a look comes over his face. And then he just kind of shifts and says, well, you were here investigating something on behalf of, I don't know, some Throlic commission or something like that. And then he pauses and thinks, you're not sure if he's thinking or what he's doing. And I'm actually maybe going to get Saliak to roll an awareness since you're the one talking with him.
Oh, I don't believe I have...
If you don't have the skill or talent, then you are rolling perception.
I think this is important enough. I'm going to use a karma, I think, if I can. Oh,
You
am I
can't
allowed
on this,
on that?
unfortunately, because
Okay.
you don't have the talent awareness. You just have perception.
All right.
Yep.
Oh, 14, though. Nice.
Oh, well, there you go.
That's still
Well,
really good.
Wow, that is
you're
very
Wesley.
good.
I mean,
That's
hey,
amazing.
sometimes it carries over, I guess. I don't
So
know.
that is a double reroll, I believe, because let me think. Step 6, you would be... No, sorry. That would be a single reroll.
Yeah, you got the 10 on the D10, so yeah.
Yeah, it's a D10. Is that... Okay, yes, sorry. So a D10, rerolled to get 14. That's really good. So I'm going to consider that an extra success and give you a little more information than most would notice, and that is that you have this suspicion that he is, as he's talking, he is kind of self-censoring some of the things he's saying. It's like he, just when he said at one point, where is, and then he just kind of trailed off, it really seemed like he was going to say something told him not to say it, and he just changed the conversation to something else.
Huh. Okay, let me check. I think I might have a talent that might be useful.
Oh, okay.
No, turns out I don't. I thought I might, but I don't.
Okay.
So yeah, I think he'll notice this, and his eyes narrow a bit, and he steps up a little closer, and he says, "I sense there is something you are hiding from me, sir. In the current state I am in, I would not advise it. You are familiar with the concept, yes?"
I am familiar with hiding. Yes. And and he stops and pauses. It's almost like you're not sure if he's thinking or listening for something or what. And then he says, I have a sort of bond with you, and what is the name of your other companion here who was here with you last time?
The name's Thravek, yes.
Yes, Thravek. And you notice he came up with your name without asking you.
Oh. So you knew it.
We have something in common. Speaking words in the head and stuff like that, you know?
Can I use my astral sight?
Yeah, let's get you to roll astral sight. And yeah, you're pretty sure he's kind of just admitting that he has something talking in his head just like you do.
Just for, flavor, I think, Captain Quinn's just kind of standing in the background with her arms crossed over her chest, with just her eyes narrowed, just very confused at the scene that is taking place in front of her.
All right. And a 2.
That
All
wasn't
right.
very good.
So that was your astral sight roll, was it?
I guess, yeah.
Because it's only a step 7 for you, right?
Yeah, that shouldn't be right. What's your rank in astral sight?
I don't have one.
Yeah, she didn't put any ranks in.
I didn't
She
put
just
any
has her
ranks
base
in it.
one.
Oh, is that why?
It's not
that makes sense.
it's a racial trait. I just get it for free. I didn't bother putting any ranks into it.
Oh, okay. You do get it as wizard as well, but yeah, you optional to put some stuff in there. You can use karma though if you wanted to, but not now. You've already rolled. So that kind of just means you take a point of strain trying to get into astral space. And I think narratively how this is going to work is just you were spending a lot of time earlier trying to get your eyes into astral space properly. I think you were using that astral sense spell to improve it before, if I recall correctly. And after that has worn off, maybe you're just feeling a bit of a headache from that and from the just general sense of vague astral pollution around here. And this is something that can happen in places where horrors have touched the area. So maybe that's giving you a little bit of a headache. And Mazet did hand you a drink though, so maybe that'll help.
I think he'll step back a bit and lean down towards Thravek and kind of whisper, "I think this one has had a contact with that thing from the ship. Somehow, I'm not sure what, but there is more here, I am sure."
And you hear him kind of boisterously say, "Drinks for all?"
Hey, have you seen a little black ball?
Little black ball. And he looks around. I have... And then he just stops. And he goes back to, anybody want drinks?
No, what about the little black ball?
And he stops and he kind of sighs and says, ah, yes, that. I have seen them before, yes.
Do you know what they are?
Yes, I more or less do. Do you?
You want to beat around the bush? No, I don't think I'd be asking if I knew. You just want to tell us, what do you think the ball is?
As you're having this, like, little discussion and he's trying to... He looks like he's it's really straining himself, because what you might know of troubadours is they like to talk a lot and they like to present a lot, and it seems to be really hurting him somewhat to not be able to talk, or something is going on here. And as this is going on, bursting in the door is Gent Scapperly behind you all. He says, well, you all shall linger here much longer. The legend does not build itself within the tavern. The care is that way. As he looks at you all awkwardly, as if he just busted in at the wrong moment.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think
Yeah, just give us a minute, bud.
the legend is late.
Well, nature does call at times, you know.
I guess you got a lot of armor there. Anyways, hey, you, so, about the ball.
He says, yes, it does have to do with our... He looks at Salyak and Thravek, mutual acquaintance, shall we say. It does, and I'm gonna... Maybe I'll get... anybody here have horror lore or anything like that?
I don't think so.
I do not.
Scourge lore. If I
That's
can
the
get
one
my
I want,
mouth
actually.
to say the right word.
So I will get, Quinn Maya to roll Scourge lore.
Scourge history?
Yeah.
Yeah.
This could be tangentially Scourge history, so I'll give you a difficulty of like 6 for basic knowledge, and then extra successes will get you more.
Well, that's a step 7 for me.
Okay, so that's enough for basics.
I potentially have one that might apply too. I don't know if I should roll it at the same time before you give information or afterwards, but it might not apply.
I'll give a little bit to Hannah first.
Okay.
7! It actually was a 7.
All right.
Nice.
Excellent, absolutely average roll. So, on a 7.
Yes. Sums me up as a player.
You have heard before that when people do get tainted in some way with the horrors or marked, that sometimes there is cases where people end up with a much deeper connection with the horror, to the point of they might be given commands, and if they do not follow them, they will have to endure a lot of pain. So there is a potential that he is more or less being held hostage to what he's saying.
Yeah. I was kind of picking up those vibes.
And Thravek had something, was it? For
Well,
a skill
I was
affliction?
thinking it potentially applies. It might be a bit of a stretch, but I do have a knowledge bar save history, so I don't know if that would apply from the standpoint of...
Yeah, that would too much stretch, I think. On
Okay,
that one.
I thought that might be the case, so...
And I think Quinamea will step up kind of to the bar and just kind of like look over, and if there's a drink within arm's reach, she's just gonna grab it from behind the bar and just kind of like take a sip of it, and then look over at the others and say, I don't think he's being unwilling. I think he's, something's making him not say what we want him to say. I wouldn't press him too much.
Ah.
And he somewhat nods reluctantly.
Do we know if there's a way to
Quinamea just
fix...
kind of like smirks and then keeps drinking.
Do we know if there's a way to fix that?
I'll get Mitzi to maybe roll a wizard half magic perception. So this is your perception plus your circle. So perception plus 4 with the option of karma. Just because wizards, their realm is of magic and things of that sort. So I would imagine a half magic roll would be a good
What about
filler in for
suppress
you.
curse?
That's potential. I actually would have to check the rules on that.
Maybe we have to get some knowledge first or something to know, but I do have suppress curse, so...
I'm going to look that up because it's potential there.
I'm going to use some karma on this because I'm curious. I rolled a 13.
So on a 13, yes, you would definitely know that, first of all, just severing the horror mark would be the best way, but doing such is kind of very, very high powerful magic type stuff. Killing the horror will do it. getting the horror to willingly let it go. Getting at least 1,000 miles between him and the horror might also do it. Or 500 miles, something like that. A long distance. Yeah, stuff like that. Now, for the suppressed curse thing, I'm just going to briefly do a quick look up on that. Because you might be correct. I actually haven't had to deal with that before. Very interesting. Okay, so I would interpret it as yes, except I'm going to now have to look up some stats for this thing then. Because I'm going to make a roll for what its,
Based
what its
on the
effect test
difficulty's gonna
would
be.
have been.
Is
Gotcha.
this something you have?
Yes, I do have suppressed curse.
It is.
Oh yeah.
It is a weaponsmith thing.
That's fascinating.
Yeah.
I think it just for flavor, if there's a bit of a silence, Quinamea will just elaborate and say, can happen when you're in the presence of a horror.
Well, so we know one's here then, I guess.
Well, I'll do an open roll for this, so we'll see what kind of 14 plus that. All right. So horrors have much higher karma steps, we'll say.
No kidding.
Oh no, that's a lot of rerolls.
That
Oh,
was
no.
such a good
Whoa.
roll.
So 22 is your
boy.
difficulty.
22 is my
Oh my
difficulty.
God.
That's not gonna
Wow.
happen.
I mean, I'm
Good
step
luck,
10.
Andrew.
I
It
could
could happen
do a
though.
bunch
It
of
could. It's
rerolls,
exploding dice, and you
could.
do have karma.
Good.
Unfortunately, I don't think I have anything that can buff you for that.
No, I don't think so. It is a talent of mine, not a skill.
Yes.
So I could spend karma on it.
You can spend 1 point of karma on it.
So I think so Thravik, he's been standing there this whole time, like he was gonna respond to Salyak before the conversation kept going, and he's just been kind of studying this guy because it's been clear something's going on, but now with this extra information from Quinamea, is it Quinamea or Quinamea?
Quinn.
Quinn. Okay,
You
so
can call her Quinn for short if you want.
yeah, so he gets this extra information from Quinamea, and he just says, I might be able to potentially do something about this. It depends on the exact magics that are working on him. And he tries to, do his suppressed curse ability. I'm not sure how I would facilitate that. I guess just a flavor thing, right?
I think it's open to interpretation that you may come up with something.
I think it probably involves some kind of hand gesture. I like the idea that I don't have to get close to the guy. I can probably do it from some kind of distance. So I think he's going to try and probe into exactly what effect is affecting this guy and remove it, or at least temporarily remove it. According to the move, it sounds like it's a number of rounds that it gets removed, not permanently. So let's see here. Like I said, I'm going to roll at a step 10, and I'm going to use karma on it.
Oh.
Good luck. You got a better chance to do it than me.
Yeah.
So in the bonus or karma step, I put a 4, right?
Yep.
I got a 10.
Oh.
Oh.
I got
Ooh.
even with the bonus karma.
Oh man.
You're sensing this is very powerful magic on him.
Yeah. So I try it and it doesn't work, and he's like, it's certainly a very powerful effect. I don't seem to be able to remove it.
Hey, well, at least I tried.
How's the guy reacting to us very openly talking about the fact that he's been cursed?
He's holding back. You see that he's it's almost like he's living in another realm where he's pays attention to you sometimes and doesn't other times. It's like he kind of
Yeah, I
wants
think
to
he's
say
been
something
stuck
a lot
here.
more. And
Yeah.
as you're doing this, Gent, who's completely not paying great attention to what you folks are talking about, he
surprise.
introduces himself and gets his name and all that, and he goes, "Oh, Mazid, is it? And you hail from which life rock?" And then waits for an answer, and there's no answer. He's like, I see. And then he kind of looks at you all and shrugs. And then he says, "Don't ask about the life rock, apparently."
I
What
love
is
how
a life rock?
So life rock, you would know this, that all obsidian come from a life rock. They are born right out of this thing called the life rock, and they merge back into it occasionally. It's kind of like all obsidian are, they're a bit of a collective. They're not a hive mind, but they become one when they go back to their life rock.
So it's exactly what it sounds like. A rock
Yeah.
that gives
Yes.
life.
It is.
Yes.
All right, good to know.
Yes.
It is. Yes.
That's cool.
Obsidian.
I have a question.
Yeah, go ahead.
If I know that this guy is having problems because he was around a horror, and that's why he's having not able to talk, would I think that's also why Salyak and Thravak can't remember stuff? Would I think that's also kind of a curse from a horror, or?
It'd be a reasonable, maybe not assumption, but a reasonable idea, that you could have.
I was certainly having the same idea.
Okay.
Hey, so
Okay.
the last time these two came in, what did they do? If you can tell me,
And he says they were exploring the care. Something about and he stops and thinks, and then he just suddenly says Butterblade. And Thravek, you would recognize the term Butterblade.
Yeah. What does the term Butterblade mean?
It's a colloquial term for a certain kind of weapon that you are often seeking, actually, and you probably suddenly perk up because you're always looking for rare and interesting weapons.
Mm-hmm.
And you know of a certain class of weapons that are known as astral slicing weapons.
Oh.
That some people call them jokingly Butterblades because they can cut through rock and even wards like
a
butter.
lightsaber?
That's cool.
But they don't.
That's very cool.
They have something in their construction that allows them to cut through patterns and inanimate objects.
I want
like it was
one.
butter.
Very
but
powerful. Yeah.
They don't have any extra benefit against living beings, though, at least none that are from the physical realm.
That's cool.
Yeah, that's cool. That reminds me of a very cool class of weapons from the Stormlight Archives books, but I won't elaborate for
So I
people
think
who are
Mixie
reading.
turns to Thravek and said, Butterblade?
And he just says it's a very specific class of weapon that can cut through many things like rocks and even patterns.
Oh, that sounds really cool.
Very rare. Very
Yes,
powerful.
it's,
Yes. I think they're kind of talking over each other a little bit.
Yeah.
So you guys came back.
Because Saliak
Here.
would have like if he hears this, I assume Saliak has probably heard me talk at length about these things and exactly how they work and like
I'm sure.
like I've definitely geeked out about them to him before. So like even if he didn't remember that we were here for one, hearing the term Butterblade would definitely be something he's aware of. I think, yeah.
Yeah, I would actually say that you've probably pursued many leads on these before, and you've never actually found one, but you've always found something interesting every time you've gone looking for one.
Oh, yeah, I like that.
They're the most hoaxed magic item there is out there, but they're also probably the most interesting to you.
So, you can see Thravek visibly brighten up at this, and I think he looks at the group and he just says, I think we have at least more information now. So he looks over at Mazet and he just says, you gonna be okay here on your own? We don't need to worry about...
You are going into the care then? To the museum?
I think so, yes.
Ah, good. Well, no admission necessary anymore. It's free. And the drinks are on the house. Well, while you're drinking, I can... how about I sing you a story of... a song of some kind? And he looks very disoriented. It's almost like he'd be drunk, but not.
I think Mixie kind of flies up to him right in front of his face and said, "Would that make you feel better?"
It might. And he begins, if no one stops, he starts going into song, and some the words he has are, "Long, long ago, the veil between the physical," and then he slams his fist on the table, "and the astral." And then he points at Mitzi's eyes, as if he knows, like, you have the astral sight, of course. "The veil between the physical and the astral wore thin. A traveler from another realm," and then he just gestures all over the place, "saw an opportunity for a new place through this veil. The first being it saw, a wolf. Observing the power and grace it captured this beast and inherited its form. It stalked, it hunted, it saw even more impressive hunters. It took their forms, too. It grew wings. It grew long, sharp claws. It grew quills. Camouflage. Inspired fear in those who give names. And it saw fear and reverence in their eyes, and sought another new form for its life. And then he stops. And you'll notice this is the one time he hasn't been interrupted at all by this at all. And I'm going to do a little roll for him on that.
Uh-oh.
He's going to use horror karma.
Uh-oh.
Because he's been given it. 22 again. All right, you all feel an overwhelming, weird sense of kind of positive emotion, as if like this was a really inspiring tale, and you don't know. You probably realize that this is some magic he's woven into the song, but it's very jarring having heard this very emotional, poetic song about something coming in from another realm that somehow has inspired you. There's definitely magic behind it.
Interesting.
Okay.
So you said this is the first time he's really been able to do anything without being interrupted.
He was not interrupted during this.
I also think it's a good thing and not a bad thing, even though he used horror karma. But it's hard to... Is there any way we can, like, see if it's actually, like, a good... I don't know if this is, like, reading into it too much or metagaming, but, like, is there any way to check if, like...
It's slightly metagamey for me to say that, but it's a little hint for the players that, this case, that he is not performing the song entirely as himself, that there is... Gotcha. And this is something that probably translates over to your character sensing something a little weird here. That there's definitely something going on.
Yeah.
Hey, thanks for the drinks. I think maybe we should go outside.
Yeah, I think so.
Quinn and May was the only one that drank anything.
Yeah.
Well, I got some like milk or something when I got here.
Dravek wasn't going to drink anything.
I got something.
Yeah, Dravek wasn't going to drink anything after he started acting weird, the guy.
I fly outside.
Yeah, so outside, you see the remnants of the town. I mean, these buildings are mostly new, but everything's overgrown right now as if no one's been here to tend to it for a while. Clearly, Mazet hasn't been doing much. But you can see in the north side of the town the purported kind of entrance to the care, which has several old tents, some that have flopped over, some that are still there, that seem to be set up as a kind of place to get admission into the quote-unquote museum and so on. You can still see some signs there and stuff from that era. Not that era, it's just a few weeks ago, but still, that kind of thing.
As they're moving closer, I think, can Celiac investigate possibly the tents outside? Just to see if there's anything...
Sure.
Anything of note left behind by the townspeople that are obviously gone, that there could be something.
Yeah, I'll get you a roll of perception.
I think Mixie is just kind of looking back over her shoulder at the bar and going, well, that was really uncomfortable and weird, don't you think?
Yes, it was quite odd.
I got the idea there's something wrong with him. That was a weird song he sang.
I agree. I can't place it, but...
That's a 5. I don't think I got anything on that.
No, you find some just evidence that definitely it hasn't been touched in a while, this spot, maybe.
Okay.
So what do you think it meant?
The song?
Yeah.
Celiac might speak up. He says, did anyone else notice? That was the longest string he managed to put together without trailing off into silence. And it seemed to be about some kind of great creature that came from another world. Do you think it may be possible that this creature that we are after, this creature that haunted us last night, might be the same as that creature in the song?
It would not surprise me. But why is it telling us about itself? Like, what, it's like a shapeshifter or something?
Maybe it likes to hear itself talk like someone I could mention. And he does the side eye towards Gent.
Oh boy, did I just have a real metagamey thought that I'm not going to say out loud.
I think I just got your metagamey thought too, but I'm not.
Mixie doesn't think this. I do. I'm going to shut up now.
Yeah, me too. I think Thravek's just going to say, yes, it's certainly possible that if this is a horror and that is what's happening to Mazet, it could just be telling us about itself, which, I mean, could be useful if it's actually the truth. Can't really put stock in it for now, though. We should definitely be on our guard going in there.
I think, why don't we go check out the museum now? I mean, that's what we're here for, right?
And while you're saying this, Gent will say, well, really, it must be plainly obvious that you two were not skilled enough to defeat this horror last time, so you needed to seek out those who were at the paragon of their abilities, as he kind of makes a bit of a stance.
Okay, I have to say it. I have to say it right now, because if I'm right, I want it noted, okay? I think Gent is the horror. Okay? That's it. That's all I'm going to say.
I mean,
I'm pretty sure that's where everyone got.
I had the
It's
same...
interesting.
It's a shapeshifter. It turned into, what, a human? Some kind of other name giver. It likes to brag about itself because it just had this guy sing a song. And who are we dealing with?
Yeah.
I'm sorry, the metagamey part of me goes, why are we having this extra random ass person? I just want to say it right now. It could be completely wrong.
I kind of wanted
That's
to
my
be...
thought.
I kind of want it to
I'll leave it as it is. We'll see. We'll see.
I kind of want it to be wrong just because
I hope I'm wrong and he's just
I want to see
but...
Gent Scaprely get his
Yeah, I
butt
literally
handed
just
to
sent
him.
a message to Susanna right before that said gent equal horror?
Entirely possible.
None of our characters are going to think about this right now.
No, yeah.
I think we should go check out the museum.
Yeah, I think we should go check the museum out.
I think before they go in, though, Quinamea kind of crosses her arms over her chest and says, "Listen, I'm just the captain. I normally just punch things, but it seems these two have no memories of being here before, and I'd rather not forget about my crew and my ship. So what can we do to make sure that doesn't happen before we go into this building or into the care?"
That's a good question. The only solace I can give you is I didn't forget my entire life, so it was only a small bit of time.
Well, that doesn't exactly help if we forget where the ship is.
Well, if we run into anything, I can cast a spell on you. It'll give you a little bit more,
To do what? This isn't answering the question.
It gives you the help against mystic stuff, you know? I have in terms of, actual game mechanics, I have something called Astral Shield, which gives you a +2 to your mystic defense. So
Ooh, that's neat.
it's something I think it might be useful, but it's for rank rounds, so
might be a good question. How many threads is that?
it's nothing.
Oh, that's even
It's
better.
not a thread thing.
So there is a optional rule, which I often use, called chain casting, which is when you believe you're entering a situation which you think your character would reasonably stop for a second and basically buff up your friends, and it's a 0 thread, and that's usually the thing it needs to be, because there's no rolls involved with threads then, because there's 0 thread. You can basically assume that you have you cast it every couple minutes or something like that, right? And basically get a result enough to keep it going for a minute or two. So
Okay.
if next time you encounter a situation which you need mystic defense, as long as Mitzi keeps that spell in her spell matrix, that's the only trade-off. You have to make sure you still have it in your matrix.
Did you say...
Yeah, in one matrix. It doesn't have to be in multiple. As long as you keep it in one matrix, we can assume that basically she just keeps it going for people while you're in
Since
kind of dangerous
I
situation.
did sleep recently, but I don't have it, on me right now. Could I just have it as one of my... Could I, switch it out now?
It's easy to switch out. It's just you just need 10 minutes in game terms.
Then I'm gonna sit here. I'm just gonna say I can make us better at this, but I'm just gonna need a few minutes to kind of, get ready and all that.
I think as they're waiting there for her to be ready, in response to Jet just going "Oh, you are not skilled enough," I think Saliak looks at him. He's slitted his eyes, and he just says, "Are you in earnest? For it seemed during that so-called bout that bent over so much and blowing so hard, I wasn't sure if you had dropped something or if you just needed to rest."
Raiders are so inelegant, though. They don't follow the rules.
Quinn frowns.
Anyone can get overwhelmed in those situations. He's basically, he's scrounging for excuses. You can tell. I seem to recall you knocked to the ground at one point as well, too.
"At least I contributed. All you did was scream like a girl."
Hey!
Quinn frowns even more.
Congratulations, you put your own foot in your mouth. I think Mixie goes over and sits on Quinamea's shoulder, crossed arms, grumpy.
Yeah.
No, he was saying that. He was saying that to Jet, not to the captain.
Oh, I know.
Oh yeah, we know.
but
You said
it's
like
offensive.
a girl.
Yeah, in the presence
are
of
girls.
Yeah.
They were overhearing.
We can hear you.
If it helps, that was not what he meant by it, but okay.
No, of course it wasn't, but we're still
of
going
course
to take it
it's not.
wrong.
I know.
Perhaps we should get back to what we were doing.
Yeah, I want to know what's inside of that
Gives him
museum.
a pointed look.
For the purposes of this, I'll assume you all have your kind of carry gear, stuff that has, adventuring pack kind of thing, which would have light crystals in case it is dark. For those of you who don't have low light vision, which remind me, Andrew, I think dwarves actually have heat sight, actually, so you have heat sight vision, right?
Pretty sure I have thermographic or heat, whatever it's called. Let me double
I do
check.
not.
Yeah,
And
you
I
have
have
heat
low
sight,
light,
and
I believe,
Saliak
so.
has low light, yeah. If there's ever any
I
low light situations,
don't.
no. And the rest of you, you just have astral and plain old regular sight for the Scrang. But as you enter in, you do notice that there are active light quartzes on the walls. And this is to be expected in active cares, or in this case, I guess, inactive care that was being turned into a museum. You want people to be able to see what they're seeing, what they can see as they go in. And light crystals, the way they work, they're kind of a common magic item. They just are on all the time, more or less, when they are installed on a wall, like they are here on the way in. What you're noticing, though, that basically this is a big, you can imagine kind of like almost like a cave entrance into the side of what doesn't look like a very big mountain. But you notice at first that there is enough room, and I don't know if any of your characters have a history of having come out of a care, but I know that Saliak and Thravek have probably been in several cares in their adventures at the very least. Mm-hmm. And you'll notice that the entrance to this is pretty big because they would have been bringing horses and wagons in when the care was initially being built and populated and all that. So you'll notice that the kind of passageway in is a gradual slope downwards as it goes deeper and deeper underground. And you can tell from this, there's a few very gentle switchbacks, but you can tell this is going deep into the earth as you continue. And there is not much elaborate carvings in the wall or anything like that. This seems like the type of care that was probably built swiftly and not done, 10, 15, 20 years before the Scourge started, but probably in the year or two, maybe more, before the Scourge truly got started. And you are gently going underground, and it's going to take quite a while. You might be hiking through there for, I would say, half an hour or so. So is there anything your characters might do as you're doing that?
I just want to say I think I'm riding on Thravek's shoulder.
That would make sense.
He would allow you to.
That's why I'm riding there, because I'm pretty sure he'd let me.
Yeah.
Because I don't have like low light vision or anything, so it's like pitch black in here. I have firefly chalk.
It's not though.
Well, I'm just gonna say like, it's not. Oh.
No, because there are, like I said,
lights.
Oh, there's lights.
There's
okay,
light
sorry.
crystals on every few meters. There's a light crystal on each side of the wall, and that keeps it bright enough so that you're actually okay.
Okay, I think she's still gonna take the firefly chalk and just occasionally draw like an arrow on the wall as they go down, just so they can keep their bearings. And if they need to get out quickly, they can just, refer to that. So she has her firefly chalk out, and she's just occasionally like drawing an arrow on the wall.
So what does firefly chalk do? Because I don't know if we've mentioned it before.
It's just like an enchanted stick of chalk that glows. So it says, the sticks remain the dull color of the original clay, but produce a dimly glowing script that may be read under all lighting conditions. And if more than 5 words are written with the chalk, the glow provides enough light to qualify as low light conditions.
Ooh, cool.
And it says most people use the chalk to leave messages in naturally dark places such as cares.
Neat.
That is what she's doing as they go.
That's some pretty useful stuff there.
You said firefly chalk, and now I'm just imagining this chalk stick that's singing the "Take my love, take my land." I'm like, no, that's wrong. That's not right.
Not that firefly.
I know, as unfortunate as that is. No. Yeah, I think Saliak is rather quiet, except that as he's walking, if he's fairly close to the captain and to Thravek first, he'll come up kind of close to the captain without startling her and just say from behind her, I did not mean any offense, Captain. At my former comment, it was but no, this is something he would do because he if he saw the reaction, he would want to, like, he didn't want to offend her at all, so he's trying to fix it. He's he says he's just like, those that flaunt their skill with such speech and circumstance at inopportune time, it is not as my discipline should be, and it makes me
say dumb things.
I think she's trying to kind of like hide a smirk. And she says, perhaps you should not allow him to get under your skin, it gives him power over you. Perhaps it'd be best to and she makes a motion like to zip his lips.
and then he gets this really kind of, in the condition under the light of the chalk, she sees this really pensive expression because his discipline and his temperament has trained him to... He knows how to talk. He's good at talking. So the concept of like hitting him with the silent treatment is like, how would I even? But he's slowly nodding. He's like, perhaps there is something to what you say, Captain. I will think on this. And he'll move on a little, and then as if he sees Thravek there, he might just come up beside him and just say, "So, it seems that you and I might just find out about our missing times. What happened to us during whatever time it was."
And Thravek's just kind of sitting there nodding. He's the kind of the walk down. He's been trying to keep his eyes out and just kind of look around because, we suspect there's a horror here. He doesn't, sense anything yet, but he's trying to, stay on guard. But, see how that comes up and he just says, yes, I would hope so. It's troubling to learn that you've forgotten something, but not only that it was in a place such as this that potentially is corrupted.
And I think he kind of smirks even in this dark tunnel, and he just says, "What say you and I introduce this thing to our friend, shall we?"
And Thravek kind of smiles and he just says, "Yes, that seems like probably be a good idea."
And as they go on, he'll just Selig will just draw out the sword and hold it there ready.
As you wrap that up, you're just approaching, you see a much brighter light ahead of you. The incline is much, much less. It wasn't that much going down. It was just slightly noticeable. So enough incline to basically go underground, but not so much incline that, you'd end up with a runaway wagon somehow when they were populating the care. There would be areas that just kind of level off for a bit to prevent that at the switchbacks. But you approach an area where you see largish chamber ahead. It's not super large. It's definitely not the care itself. With on the far side a open, large slab of rock that is covered in runes. And this is something that Mixie, you would recognize these as the runes and rites of protection, which is what is used to seal cares from during the scourge. It is not closed right now. It is not sealed. This is wide open, so this is nothing unusual, but this is something that probably is more in your realm as a wizard and as an archaeologist that you would totally recognize.
Yeah, interesting.
And in this chamber as well, you all notice that there are statues all around, and these statues seem to be of the Passions. None of you are questers or have any particular affinities to any Passions, except possibly Thravek with his connection to Corollas, I believe it was. But all of those statues are in their kind of pre-scourge form. It is fairly well known that three of the Passions went mad during the scourge and are now considered not good things, more or less. But their original statues are not defaced or anything like that, which often has happened. They seem to be intact, but in kind of their common form as they would have been interpreted before the scourge, of course, and not in their current kind of mad form. But beyond that, I want Mixie to roll I'm going to go with, you have archaeology, right?
Yes, it is one of my skills.
I'll get you to roll that as you enter into the next chamber after this.
Can I add stuff?
Not to this, because it's not part of your discipline. It's not a talent, but we'll see how it goes.
I got a 6.
Oh, 6. Yep, so that's an average success for this kind of thing. So, as you enter the chamber beyond the ward, you notice that this next chamber, while, yes, it is huge, and you all enter into this very huge underground chamber, this is nothing too unusual to perhaps Thravek and Scaliac and Saliac and Mixie, but perhaps to Quinamea this is something completely new, seeing a place this huge underground. But even as huge as it is, Mixie, you're just looking around, probably might fly up and look around and just get a lay of the land, I'm guessing. And you notice that this can't be the entirety of the care, but it almost looks like it is. It's because this is only enough to really sustain maybe 100 people, but you had heard that this place probably had way more in it. So that's a little disconcerting to you. But from your kind of airborne view, you can see that there is a few buildings here that have been rebuilt, probably as part of the museum. There's even some signs around. You think there's like a library, maybe a schoolhouse. You notice one thing says gift shop on it, which is clearly not from the original Care. And at the far back, there looks to be kind of example Care crops and an animal grazing area. You don't see any actual animals grazing back there, though. But this whole area is lit by light crystals on the walls, and it's lit enough that none of you will have any negative modifiers or anything. Yeah, so beyond that, typically a Care of this size doesn't just have one big room. You would think there'd be usually a lot more, maybe some smaller chambers off the side if it was just one big room. So that's a little suspicious. And you're thinking probably this Care was done in a rush at one point, though, the way it's carved out. So yeah, what do you do?
I think I just start kind of looking around, and then I say, it seems kind of small.
Meanwhile, Quinamea, you could probably fit your airship in here, fly around for a couple minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, usually they're a lot bigger than this for the amount of people that you would have expected to be in here.
She is right.
Yes. Yeah, that does seem strange.
I wonder if there's like some hidden passages or something out here.
Maybe something collapsed, but yes, it does seem strange, the amount of living quarters there are for what should have been a full Care.
Well, you if you want to break up, maybe we can start looking around and see if we can find anything interesting around here. I mean, we all stay together in, the same room, but break up.
Susanna suggesting to split the party.
Yeah, my brain was kind of like, Susanna's trying to split the party.
We're in the same room, technically.
That's true.
We'll be within sight of each other.
It's a very big room.
May or may not.
Still big.
Yeah, it's pretty big.
It does have several buildings in it. So I've put up a map on Roll20. It's hard to see. There's outlines of buildings there. It doesn't do buildings, the thing I used, but there is about a dozen small buildings, maybe 4 or 5 large buildings in here. So maybe the size of like a city block kind of area. So what you would think that this is.
Okay, so yeah, I think we should split up, start looking around. I want to know what that thing in the back is.
Okay.
Yeah, the thing looks like a pile of bones.
Yeah, that. But I can't see it, I assume, from the entrance. So I'm going to want to run around and start looking around.
Mixie probably can, because she can fly up a little higher, just take a peek around, and you could probably see that in the distance.
Oh, then I'm gonna fly up and start kind of looking around after I suggest that we split up and say, wonder what that is, and then start flying towards it.
I'm going to get Mixie to roll an awareness, if you have that.
Okay. I remembered it being useful when the first time I played with you, and I didn't have it.
I'm going to get Salyak to roll an awareness as well, too, which is just perception for Salyak.
7.
Does Thravik not get awareness?
No, there's something specific for Salyak.
Something specific. Okay, that's fair. That's fair. I was going to make a joke about how, Salyak always gets to roll awareness, but I don't. I actually have to.
There's something he has in particular in this scene.
That's fair.
That is a step 9. Or, sorry, not step 9, result 9.
Of course, Wesley doesn't even have it, and he still outrolls the people who do.
Yeah, that does.
I have not been rolling very well tonight.
Mixie on a 7. You think you see amongst this pile of bones something moving. Some clothing, you think? Maybe people in clothes, you're not sure. It's a little vague from this distance. Salyak on a 9. You feel a vague vibration coming from the singing sword. Sadie's singing saber.
Okay. I think he'll use it kind of like a tuning fork, and he'll turn in whatever direction the movement is strongest, and he'll call to the others, "There is something here," and he's peering out into the dark, and if anybody was here, they just see these 2 silver orbs just looking out.
Well, it's not too dark in here. It's low light, but it's just barely above low light.
They've got the lights.
There's light crystals on the walls.
He's just moving.
There's what's here.
Yeah, he's just moving slowly, trying to pinpoint where it's coming from.
She doesn't know what the sword does. She doesn't know what that means.
So, did you mention last time, I think we talked, I don't think you shared with others what it did, necessarily. The other characters.
Not with the captain, does. Actually.
At least I wasn't on deck at the time.
No. I think...
Quinmeo wouldn't know, but but you might hear, just vaguely, a very faint hum coming from Salyak's direction. And Salyak, as you turn your saber around, you can feel not just feel, but also hear the tune change as you point it in different directions. And the higher tune comes when you start pointing in the direction that Mixie has pointed at.
I think Mixie is in the air at this point, and she's like getting towards the thing, and she sees movement, and she goes, hey guys, I think I see something over here, something moving. I don't want to get any closer.
And yeah, I think he's already stepping towards it to investigate.
Yeah, and as you're approaching that, so Mixie, are you kind of waiting for the group to kind of like follow you? Because obviously you can fly much faster than they can run it even, so...
Yeah, no,
just,
I'm gonna wait where I am at a distance
Quinn
because
would
I don't want to
draw
die.
her short sword and follow. Yeah.
Okay, who's in the lead here?
I would think that I am outside of Mixie since I said I was moving first with the sword.
Okay.
Yeah,
vibrating.
Thravik would be following close behind, but he's gonna let Saliak lead the way just because he's got, the sword.
Yeah, I figure maybe Thravik would probably be very close to Saliak.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
'Cause you're used to working with him and trust his instincts on this.
Yeah, definitely. I agree.
As you come closer to this, let's see, I'll get everyone to roll awareness. So if you don't have awareness, roll straight perception. We'll treat this as a contest. Let's see who is first in noticing stuff.
Oof, I only have step 6.
I have step 11 on this one.
I do too. I still got a 9.
I got a 6 on a step 6.
Step 6 and an 8.
Ooh, 14.
So at a 14, Thravik, you are paying keen attention, I think, to this pile of bones. And you notice that there are 3 figures in robes there. Kind of, they're huddled over, but they look to almost be like they're in conversation. And as you get a little better of a view, they look like they're in tattered wizard robes, you think. They aren't really saying anything you can hear, though. You can't really hear any talking. And they're standing at this very large pile of bones, and you're noticing that these seem to be a mix of animal bones, but also maybe name-giver bones. You're not sure. And what do you do? Do you get closer to see more, or what do you all do?
I think Thravik's actually going to put a hand forward and, touch Saliak on the elbow and then put a hand up for anybody that's behind him. And he's just going to whisper. He's just going to say, I see figures over there. Looks like maybe wizards. That bone pile looks like it's got name giver bones in it potentially.
Mixie nervously giggles and then starts casting her astral shield on herself.
Yeah, and you can do that as chain casting. We'll assume that you have that kind of ongoing. Everyone will have the +2 there.
I think maybe Quinamea says, well, I could try to sneak up and get a closer look without engaging.
Ooh, good idea. So you're going to take stealthy stride?
I have stealthy stride.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, you should do that. Uh-huh.
What's Gent doing?
And Gent, you'll hear him say, oh, this could be quite the sporting fight, couldn't it? And he kind of nudges Saliak. Let's see who it can kill the most.
I think just as a test of what the captain told him before, he's gonna try the silent thing, but just like he did.
Yes.
But just. But just like he did in the bar, I think he's going to keep silent, but he is going to do the single eyebrow raise. Like he's just conveyed an entire speech with one eyebrow.
And I'll get you to roll that stealthy stride.
Okie dokie. I have step 10 in stealthy stride. So
Okay.
we'll see
And
how
you
this
can use
goes.
karma with this.
Well, it's a skill.
Oh, is it a
not
skill?
talent.
Never mind. Sorry, I thought that.
Yeah, for me,
right.
I have it as a skill. Yeah.
Right. Skyraiders not known for their stealthiness.
Yeah.
So go and roll that.
It's a 13.
13. All right. So 13's really good, actually. I'm going to roll something in opposition just to see what we get here. Perception step. All right. This is an opposed roll, but not a very good one.
Ooh.
They do not notice you on a 4.
Awesome.
So I'm going to get you to roll a new perception or awareness for this, for what you see. I'm assuming you find a really good
Okay.
vantage point to see what you see.
Yeah. Can I use karma on perception?
If you have awareness as a talent, you can, but not
No, I
just
don't.
straight
Okay,
perception.
never mind.
Hey.
Oh, that's pretty good. 6
Oh,
is
I
good.
got 6.
Not
You
bad.
got
Okay.
the same as
6
you
for
did last
6.
time. That's good.
I got the same as I did last time. A 6 on a 6.
So it means you got a single success, and is the way I'm translating this. So you notice of these 3 figures that have been pointed out to you, one of them is an elf, 2 are orcs. They are indeed in tattered wizard robes. but they have flakes of skin that are missing. They have protruding bone and a slight blue glow coming from behind their eyes. They are definitely looking at the group. They can see them, and they look like they're kind of conversing between each other a little bit, which is, I don't know how much your characters dealt with undead things, but other than aboard the ship that one time, but I don't know whether you think that would be normal or not, so.
Do they look like the things that we saw on the ship earlier?
Reminiscent in the sense that they appear to definitely not be living.
Okay.
Not as gone as the others, though. These are definitely more intact and wearing robes and things like that.
Okay.
And with your really good stealthy side roll, I can carry that back to you being able to kind of stealthily sneak back to the group and relay this if you want.
Yeah, she'd definitely go back to them and say, well, there's 2 orcs and an elf that look undead like the things on the ship, and they definitely know that we're here.
And as she says that, they begin walking kind of in unison towards you, and you begin to hear this kind of very breathy speech coming out of them. More power for our keeper. And then one of them points at Gent specifically, says, the human first, he glows brightest. And suddenly, and actually while they say that, Gent actually stops and says, well, thank you, I wait. And then the bones behind them begin to rise. Bones behind them begin to rise, and you notice that there is it's not just a pile of bones. There seems to be something kind of stretchy on the bones, and then you notice maybe that's some kind of flesh or something that is connected to all these bones. And it begins to wrap upon itself and basically rise up about, I would say, 10, 12, 13, 14 feet, just all an amalgam of bone and flesh, and begins rolling towards your group. And I think we'll end there.
Oh, man.
Oh, man. Oh, that's bad. That is so gross. Ugh.